Episode 2 of Daily Coach TV is going to be live on July 8th, that's a Wednesday, at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. If you aren't familiar with Daily Coach TV, it's a brand new live stream show, 45 minutes long, and it's co-hosted by WNBA champion and Women's Basketball Hall of Famer Lynn Dunn and Maryland Men's Basketball's Director of Process, Coach Josh Chambers. Our first episode featured 3 special guest coaches, Carol Hutchins from Michigan Softball, Mark Trestman from the Chicago Bears, and Jay Martin from Ohio Wesleyan Soccer. And together, the group of 5 coaches talked about core values. You can join the show live by registering at the link in the description. If you can't join us live, register anyway and we'll send you the replay that you can watch through the weekend. For those of you that can make it live, don't forget to bring your questions. We'll see you on July 8th. Welcome to the Daily Coach's Sports Leadership Lessons, a reading of some of our greatest hits from more than 6 years of email newsletters that have been read by tens of thousands of leaders and learners. If you want our latest newsletter delivered to your inbox every day, you can subscribe for free at thedaily.coach/subscribe or follow the link in the description. Brené Brown and the Courage to Feel. The room was quiet. A dozen senior leaders sat in the conference room from different sectors and arenas, people who manage budgets, teams, talent, and outcomes measured in millions. Their calendars were packed, their responsibilities heavy. Yet today, every chair felt unusually small. The facilitator walked in and wrote a single word on the board: vulnerability. A few leaders shifted in their seats. Someone coughed. One person checked their phone, pretending to read a notification that wasn't there. The facilitator then played a short clip from the Diary of a CEO podcast, hosted by Stephen Bartlett, where Brené Brown, leading voice, researcher, and storyteller on shame, courage, and emotional honesty, spoke in that unmistakable, grounded, empathetic tone. I don't think we'll ever talk about anything more important than this, because it's not fear that gets in the way of us being brave with our lives and our work. It's the armor we reach for to self-protect when we're afraid, and how that armor moves us away from love, connection, and our values. The hardest work is being aware of what my armor is, Brown expressed. The room fell silent. Brown's research shaped leadership cultures at Pixar, Google, and even the U.S. Special Forces. Her TED Talk on vulnerability has been viewed over 24 million times. Why? Because Brown has this graceful, almost magical and magnetic way of explaining things we've all felt, yet never had the language for. The facilitator then asked the room, "What's the armor you wear?" A CEO spoke first. "My armor is control. If I control everything, I don't have to feel rejection." A coach answered, "Mine is perfection. If I never fail, no one can criticize me." A principal said, "I use busyness. If I stay moving, I don't have to feel anything." This is what Brené Brown calls self-protection, disguised as strength. She shared on the podcast, "I was raised that anger was okay, but sad was not. We needed to be tough. When I get scared, anxious, disappointed, I'm just angry. When you're raised without vulnerability, it puts you in jeopardy." Most leaders haven't been taught emotional fluency. We were taught performance. We were rewarded for control. We were applauded for achieving. But vulnerability? Many of us were raised to believe it was weakness. Brown dismantles that myth. Vulnerability is important if we want to be brave with our lives. We were raised to believe that vulnerability is weakness. And then she says something that cuts straight to the heart and soul, inviting the parts of ourselves we usually hide to be seen, felt, and experienced. You want to know what vulnerability is? Joy. Joy is so vulnerable that people choose to live disappointed rather than risk being sucker punched by disappointment. Some leaders in the workshop room looked down because they knew. When you're responsible for people, athletes, employees, students, it feels safer sometimes to not hope too much, not celebrate too soon, or not care too deeply. But that's not leadership. That's self-protection. There is no courage without vulnerability, because courage is the willingness to show up and be all in when you can't predict the outcome. The facilitator closed the workshop with one reflection. Your team doesn't need you to be a flawless leader. They need you to be a human one. We live in a world with more technological connection and less emotional connection than ever before. People aren't asking for perfect leaders. They're asking for present ones. Because behind every title, every resume, every milestone is a human being quietly asking, am I enough? Is this enough? Brown's research gives us permission to remove the armor. Perfection can be replaced by presence. Control can be replaced by trust. And emotional walls can be replaced by connection. Because when we as leaders remove our armor, our teams begin to remove theirs. And that's when performance and culture can be anchored and rooted in substance and positioned to transform. As we embark on this moment and the next moment, let's lead ourselves by doing and implementing the following from Brown's timely and timeless wisdom. Name your armor. Awareness is step one. Let yourself feel joy. Don't shortcut the good moments. Model vulnerability. Your team matches your emotional tone. People don't just follow titles, they follow truth. Because leadership isn't about being fearless. Our fear makes us human. But each day we have a choice not to live there. Leadership is about being brave enough to feel and giving those we lead permission to do the same. Thanks for joining this episode of The Daily Coach. On behalf of Michael Lombardi, Coach George Raveling, and the entire Daily Coach team, we're grateful for your support. Remember, the most important person you will ever lead is yourself. Keep growing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep showing up.